Now, it's the sitcom which dominated the Christmas schedules from the 1980s right the way through to the early 2000s.
Well, every year, more than 24 million of us would sit down with our families to watch the Trotters in the annual Only Fools and Horses festive episode.
Well, now, Del Boy himself, Sir David Jason, is looking back at those legendary specials. Before we talk to him, let's take a look at his favourite Christmas Only Fools moment.
Look, I agree that Del gets a bit out of hand, but I think it's unfair to say that everything he touches goes wrong. Our coach has just blown up.
Don't worry, Harry, I won't tell your governor about it.
So brilliant.
Always funny. The nation's favourite comedy wheeler dealer, Sir David Jason, joins us now.
Welcome.
It's so always lovely to see you. What is it about that? I mean, it's a crazy question, but what is it about that one that sticks out for you?
Well, I mean, obviously that is a wonderful joke. And the brilliance of Sullivan is how he builds up to that those jokes. But the main reason is that when it starts, when the coach enters Margate, there's a long shot of the coach travelling along the seaside, and there's that music, which is Everybody Loves Me. Everybody, you know, who was it that did that song?
Which one was it?
Which one?
It's with Dustin Hoffman.
Right. Everyone's talking. Everybody's talking.
That's that
one.
one.
Right, OK.
Got a dry moment there for a minute.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I'm not useless with songs.
Well, anyway, the point of the story is that one of the reasons why it's my favourite is because the director takes the time to allow us, the audience, to enjoy the whole of that sequence.
Yeah.
So, in other words, the whole of that song is played to pictures. Now, you don't get that today because it's come on, cut, come on, let's move on. Whereas that was one of the reasons that you can sit and watch that song plays and there is the pictures of these idiots and everything. And it's just a lovely moment. But the other thing about it, which I just mentioned quickly, is that it's an old-fashioned thing where a load of fellas all get into a bus and they go out for the weekend and they just behave like children.
Yeah.
And that is another reason why it's so lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely to see a load of fellas all behaving childlike as opposed to having to be butch all the time.
Yeah.
So, no, it was it always brings me, you know, fond memories of that.
Well, this new book of yours, the 12 Dells of Christmas here, I mean, this is full of memories. In fact, you've described them as your sort of baubles of wisdom, which is such a lovely way to put it.
Well, yeah, I mean, the reason for that, again, how it came about was that I'm half and half with Christmas, to be honest, is that the Christmases that I remember when I was a lad were very, very romantic, meaning that there were no... all the transport closed down, for example, for Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So it was dead quiet whenever you went. You couldn't go shopping, you had to shop before. And also it was all about religion, and it was... all of those songs meant something. There was no adverts on television, or virtually none, because there was no television. So the whole thing about Christmas was geared to quiet, you know, well,
just family time.
Just family, family time
together.
to be with each other and enjoy the process of being together over that Christmas.
But it's interesting you say that, because that's what you gave us. That I think the BBC said that Only Fools was its Christmas gift to us, and so you actually did create, and I don't know how much it happens these days. You know, you don't get 24 million viewers very often. So so you got the family in front of the telly. It was appointment to view TV.
Well, yeah, I suppose one of the things that you could say because of that was that the show itself was very family orientated, meaning that it always showed the ups and downs. It was never all romantic and wonderful. There was always conflict, always Del and Rodney always at each other. And so I think that was very much of a family. Anybody who was watching the show could say, yeah, that's you. That is.
Yeah, they
that's,
recognise
That's what you like. Yes. Yeah. No, I'm not. Yes, you are.
And so it begins.
So you had that family feel. And so that is why I think a lot of it resonated. But the other thing, of course, is that the gags the jokes were so brilliant and well constructed, and the characters as well. You know, Uncle Albert, the silly old.
Yeah.
I have to watch my language here. The silly old devil, you know, about all the things he did in the war. And it was, again, each of those characters had a line in which you, the audience, recognised. So whenever it came up about during the war, and we go, oh, here we go, here we go.
Yeah.
We're going to get one of those stories that is a non-story, or there's going to be a joke. And so that, again, was something you looked forward to. That was the brilliance of the writing, excuse me, as much as the lovely acting of the characters.
You know what else I think, and you don't get this now, it was almost, it bonded the viewer, all having that shared experience of watching something together. So it united not just families, but, like, everybody.
Well, I know. I think it's nice of you to say that, but there is a link somewhere that one bonds, as you said, binds us actors, the storyline, the television, and the public. They're all brought together. You're quite right. There is that's the little magic ingredient that I wish we could find every time we do a television programme.
You found them. You found it quite a few times.
Yeah, you did. It wasn't just Only Fools.
Darling Buds, Open All Hours. You know, there's not many misses there. It goes to prove how important it was and still is to all of us, because you can still watch the whole thing on BritBox and the Christmas specials. Is that in the Queen's celebrations, you look at the Mall and there's the three-wheeler.
Yeah, well, I'll never forget that as long as I live, I don't think. That there, in the pageant, I was there on that day, and we were right outside Buckingham Palace, sitting in the stands, as it were. And I'll never forget the bit, because it was on television. There was a big television screen that we could look at. And there I was, looking at the screen. There comes a gold coach with an effigy or a photo of the Queen inside, and all the horses and all the guards of the King's, the Queen's men all riding up with all their finery. And then suddenly, right in the distance, comes a three-wheeled van. And you think, how on earth could that be part of the pageant? Which it was. And it took me so much by surprise, and I just thought, oh, no, I don't believe it. But it was a wonderful...
Well, that's
equally
what it
iconic,
meant
Rennie
to
would
us.
say.
Yeah, that's what it meant to us.
Yeah.
Now, that's the
somebody had thought that, who put all that together, and it was such a silly moment. You know, the things that we'd done inside that van, and the idea of the van as well. Yeah. But how did that get logged into the British psyche?
That's what makes it so genius.
Take it up.
The 12 Dells of Christmas.
Thank
This is David's book. It is so lovely to see you. Thank you so much.
Always lovely. Thank you very much.
Bless you for inviting me on your show.
Always welcome. Blue Swimming are